So let's look at a couple economic systems. We have a few to look at, and what we're going to look at specifically is which liberal values do we see in these economic systems, and which ones might be used more and which ones less. So obviously we have the market economy is the first one we're going to look at. This is the economy that is really kind of fictitious. It doesn't really exist in real life because no government regulation is really difficult to achieve. So if we were to have a market economy based on supply and demand only, then let's look at that. So there would be no government involvement, no intervention. It would only be based on what the consumer wants and how much they're going to pay for it. So obviously this would be super efficient, right? Lots of consumer choice, really low prices, tons of innovation, high competition, no taxes. That would be, wouldn't that be great? I mean, everybody would love that, except, of course, when you don't have taxes, then you would have to pay for other things that you don't right now, like healthcare and education, and libraries wouldn't be free, and police, you'd have to pay for the police to come to your house. So you have to fund those things somehow. So a market economy, this is why it's kind of impossible. No regulation is also kind of tricky. Obviously, with no regulation, well, you don't know if what you're eating or using in terms of product is safe. You don't want to buy a car and think that it's going to blow up on the road. And that's why governments have to have some sort of regulations. Products have to be safe, products have to be priced fairly, and that kind of thing. But what liberal values does a market economy reflect? Well, obviously individual choice. It's very individualistic, very me and not we. Obviously private property, right? Businesses would be private. You could keep your wealth, that's private too. You wouldn't pay taxes on it. Competition is a liberal value for sure. The best product at the best price would win. But there's another kind of economy, and this is the most popular economy in the world, and that's the mixed economy. So the mixed economy takes values of liberalism and mixes them with the values of collectivism. So you have kind of a combo of both, and depending on how free your market is on the spectrum, you're going to emphasize some liberal values more than others, right? So each country is different. The US is a little bit more free than ours here, but in Canada, we still have a mixed economy. So what are the things that we have? We have competition, we have private property, we can have a private business, but we pay taxes on that business. And there's some regulations and laws that we have to listen to keep the consumer safe, right? We also have consumer protections and more equality because we pay taxes. So in Canada, this is what we do. We fund healthcare, education, libraries, police, fire, emergency services. We also have employment insurance to protect people in case they lose their job, right? We just think these are good things to have. So some of the liberal values in a mixed economy that exist, obviously private property, we have all these things, but we also protect people from harm. And then the collective values that we have where we protect the group, right? We have to protect them somehow because we know that sometimes people are in a bad spot. And so we do focus on equality to some extent. And then there's another kind of economy, and we've looked at this extensively. This is command economy and communism, right? So obviously all the decisions are made by the government. There's no competition. Wages are equal. There's not a lot of choice in products, and there's limited supply of things. So you don't get a lot of choices, and you don't get to buy tons of something. Okay, so obviously very few liberal values here. So yeah, that's our review of the three kinds of economies. There are other kinds of economies, but we don't really need to know about them for this assignment. So just review this PowerPoint if you need to get your head around these, and then you can move on to the next assignment.